Halloween's not that far away. It's time to get out your 3D printer and make some spooky decorations. Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for Bland Designs and the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly vlog for Monday, September the 19th, and it's vlog number 281. And this is a somber day because, of course, as everyone in the world knows, today is the day of the Queen's funeral. Now, as I'm recording this, since I'm in Canada and I'm in Ontario, England is about 5 hours ahead of my time zone, so the funeral's already taken place, pretty much. I know that we could have watched it on TV starting at 4 a.m. this morning. I think it was scheduled for 11 a.m. UK time, which, yeah, you do the math. Whatever. It's in there somewhere. So I'm sure if I turned on the TV right now, I'd be seeing at least part of it. But I'm not going to do that because I have a busy day. And I am up pretty early right now. It is still dark outside. Of course, we are into the fall season, almost into the fall season. I'm still not going to say it's fall until the 21st of September, which is in about 3 days' time. Eking out every last minute of summer weather that we can get, or the feel of summer, although they're predicting that the fall is going to be unseasonably warm this year. So they're saying global warming? I don't know. But anyways, yes, so today is the Queen's funeral. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit. But now let's jump right into what I have been working on. And here's the first thing. Now, you've seen this in bits and pieces, but now it's completely done. This is the Gnome Antics Christmas quilt. It was a kit, and I altered it slightly from the instructions. If you see the borders going around, especially at the top and the bottom, those are supposed to be what are called mitered corners. And although I've done mitered corners before, for some reason on this quilt, I just could not get them right. So I decided to do the borders in the regular way. And yeah, it doesn't take away from the quilt, it just gives it a little extra dimension or a little something different. The mitered corners might have been nice, but you know, on the third attempt to get it right, I said to myself, why am I bothering? Because this was a kit, this was meant to be a fast project, and yeah, so it is now done. And if you want to see what the quilting looks like, here's the quilting. I did a whole bunch of snowflakes and swirls on it. Well, when I say I, the computer program on Lucy did the swirls and the stars. But I think they turned out pretty good. Used a lot of thread for this. It is fairly dense, but it turned out. And here's the back. Now you can see the quilting on the back because the back is dark, but I did this time use a lighter colored thread. I used sort of a goldy yellow. But the back is pretty busy with those poinsettia designs. I think they're poinsettias and hollies, whatever. But overall, I'm pretty happy with the end result. I think it looks pretty good. And I'm not sure if I'm going to hang on to this one or it could be a potential Christmas gift for somebody. I don't know. Might be a good one for the neighbors this year, but we shall see. So, moving back to me, that takes me to YouTube. Oh, no, it doesn't. I have one more thing to show you. I just about forgot. So let me find the picture. Yes, now this is not done. It looks like it's done, but it's not done. Right here. This is one of the classes that I've been taking. This has been going on for 7 months. It's a block of the month. So every month you get instructions for another part of the quilt. And this month, the month 7, was actually the month where we started to put the pieces together. And wow. Yes, I'm going to say wow because I'm really impressed with this design. Now, this is very tricky because of the colors, the fabrics that I picked, because there's a whole lot of little patternings going on in here, little shapes and things. And it's one of those kind of quilts where you have to stand back and stare at it. And then what will emerge will be the different blocks and the secondary blocks and the patterns throughout it. So far, um, has it been a problem to make? Yes, a little bit. It's very easy to get the pieces mixed up so you don't get the design. And I did that a couple of times and I ripped them out and corrected it. And I'm pretty much sure that I've got everything where it's supposed to be right now. If something is out by a little bit, I don't think anybody would notice it because of the busyness of the colors. But I am really liking it. Now, I thought at this stage, I have another border to put on it, so that will mean that month 7 is done. So I said to Donna, the hostess with the mostess, who is teaching this class, and it's an online class from Ultimate Sewing. I said to her, so I guess we're just about done. And she says, oh no, you are not. So there's more to come. I think there are 10 more or 3 more uh, installments to this. I am suspecting that this is going to have mitered corners. Maybe not, but either way, that's okay because I know Donna will teach us how to do the mitered corners properly, and that will be a good thing for me. So anyways, that is the stage I'm at right now. Okay. So, excuse me, frog in my throat. When don't I have a frog in my throat? 2 things always happen to me when I do a broadcast. Every time I get the hiccups and I get a frog in my throat. So I apologize for the extra noise in that case. And let's carry on. Okay, so keeping with my theme, which didn't intend to be a theme, but I think is going to be a theme, the YouTube channel of the week, and that's Royal Watching on YouTube. This week's YouTube channel of the week is really not a channel, it is a search. But you know, what's really great about YouTube is the fact that you can get up-to-date news anytime you want it. And of course, in this past week with the death of the Queen, YouTube is inundated with information about all aspects of the monarchy at this turning point in the history of the monarchy. Which I mean by that is the passing of the Queen and the accession to the throne of King Charles III. So if you want to keep up to date with that, or if you're a royal watcher or you're a monarchist, just do a search for anything right now about the Queen or about the new king. And if you want some background information too about the whole business of changing over a royal or the history of the royals, YouTube is full of that information. You can definitely go down a rabbit hole with this. And I have, because this has always interested me. I like to be a royal watcher to a certain extent. So YouTube has everything there for those of us that are into that. So you might want to check it out. So you will not find a link to the YouTube channel of the week because basically there are hundreds of YouTube channels out there that are, you know, talk about the royal family in all kinds of ways. So there isn't just one link for that. You just need to do a search, do royal family, the Queen, the King, whatever, and you'll find lots of stuff if you're interested in it. There is a link to an interview that I did with Brandy Tsonetokoy-Burns. I said her name wrong. I know I did, and I apologize, Brandy. We had a great interview. I posted it. You may have already seen it, but in case you didn't, there's a link for that below. There's a link for the latest Idiot Quilter episode, 184, where I just share a whole lot of different things with you. That was kind of a potpourri of topics. And of course, there's So Chatty, episode 75, Just Stick It, Play on Stick It, where Walter and I talked about adhesives and how we use them in quilt making and in garment making. Okay, so that takes me to looking out my window. All right, do not adjust your set. Yeah, it's dark. It's very dark because right now it is 6:46 in the morning. I took this, as you can see on the side, at 6:31, and it's looking across my street. It's looking where you usually see that picture taken, but you can even see the. I don't think that's the moon. That's a street light. Okay, that's not the moon. Um, and yeah, it will get lighter as every day does, right? But we're moving into that time of the year. The days have gotten shorter. Um, so yeah, it's a little bit on the dark side. Also, I'm a little earlier this morning doing this. I usually get up Monday mornings. Well, I get up every morning relatively early. But usually by the time I get around to this, the sun is up and you can see things. But because I've got something going on later this morning, I wanted to get the vlog up and out of the way for that. And more about why that is in a bit. But anyways, yes, today's forecast, dark with progressively more light, and then bright sunshine, and then progressively less sunshine, and then dark again. Wouldn't I make a great weather man or weather person? Okay, so that takes me to what's pissing me off this week, and it is related to the royal family. And it's all about having a little bit of respect for the Queen. The Queen is dead. God save the King. Okay? I know there's a lot of controversy around the whole royal family, and there has been for years. There are those who are monarchists who love the Queen, the royal family, think it's a great institution, it's tradition, they want to keep it. And on the other end of the spectrum, there are those who say they're a waste of time, they're a waste of money, we don't need them, look at they're a dysfunctional family, and everything else that they want to say. And then, most of us probably fall somewhere in between. But I think we need to remove our personal feelings about the institution of the monarchy from the Queen as a great lady and leader. She was a great lady. How many leaders do you know in the world, good ones, have been in power? And when I say power with the Queen, we know that her power was limited. She was more of a figurehead than anything else. But nevertheless, she did lead, and she did it for 70 years. She came to the throne at about the age of 25. Um, she wasn't really meant to come to the throne, not her family. The only reason it happened was because her uncle abdicated and her father became king. So the line of ascension came to her. So there she was on the throne at a very young age, and she's held it since that very first day when she was declared queen. She has been nothing but a role model for not just for women, but for all people on the face of this planet. She led with dignity and grace and respect and intelligence, and even sometimes with a little bit of humor as well. She saw the world go through all kinds of tragedies. She came to the throne just a few years after the end of the Second World War. So she lived through the Second World War. She lived through the Depression. She was born in 1926. So although she may have been young when that was happening, nevertheless, it still affected her as a child, as a young child. She lived through the sexual revolution of the 1960s, the hippie culture, the protests against Vietnam. She lived through the Korean War. That was before Vietnam. She has seen so many changes. She has seen the popularity of television and, of course, now computers and electronics. In her 70 years as queen, she has seen the world change and change drastically. And she always rose to the occasion and she adapted to whatever change was out there. And then that's more than you can say about many of the leaders over time in this world. She went through personal turmoil as well. I mean, her children have not been the best behaved. Let's just leave it at that. She, saw her daughter-in-law go through a horrible marriage, and then, of course, ultimately her death. Um, the scandal that's been surrounds one of her sons as well, and even one of her grandsons for that matter too. But through all of that, she, at least to the public, she had a face of dignity and grace. And I think that's what we should be honoring, because there aren't many leaders in this world that we can say the same thing about. But yet, with all of that, we still have people and groups out there that are, even at this moment during her funeral, a time when people should be in solemn reflection and should show silent respect, are protesting. Right here in our own country, it has already happened. We've had a member of parliament who's an Indigenous chief who said he is not taking the oath of allegiance to the new king. Now, yes, it is a symbolic thing. In fact, does it really mean anything? It's more or less a tradition. But because of the whole situation with resident schools and all that kind of thing here in Canada, he has decided that he is not going to do that, because for him, the Queen represents colonialism. Well, let's get off the pot on that, shall we? Yes, colonialism happened, but it happened a long time ago. And yes, the Indigenous people were given an extremely raw deal. But that wasn't really the Queen who did that. That was our past governments and the Catholic Church. So put the blame where blame is due. You can't blame everybody in the world for your situation. So get off the pot. And then we have members of parliament or provincial parliament in Quebec who said they're not going to honor the Queen either. And some of them walked out of the House of Commons when they were doing some respectful things towards the Queen. Again, Quebec has always been special in Canada. It's a historical thing. I mean, the French settled Canada, what became Quebec, first. They were here first. There's no two ways about it. And if they had been able to maintain their control over the New World, we would be all speaking French. At least we Canadians would all be speaking French now. But that didn't happen. The English came, the English conquered. Whether that was right, whether that was wrong, the point is moot. That was interesting. My thing just did a little glitch. I don't know what that was about. Anyways, so yeah, just get over it, Quebec. Okay, you're part of Canada. Canada, like it or not, we recognize royalty in our tradition. But no, they have decided that they're going to use this moment to protest. Now, I've got nothing against anyone protesting their beliefs, because in Canada, that's fine. But let's pick your time. The lady is dead. It's her funeral. I think you need to show some respect. Even in the wider world, the Queen's funeral is politicized. There are dignitaries that are invited to this funeral. Now, of course, most of them will come from the Commonwealth. However, there are others invited from outside of the Commonwealth as well. I think there's something like over 2,300 important people invited to this. China is not one of them. The British government has decided China will not be invited to the funeral. Now, okay, they're saying because China has sanctions against Britain, therefore they're not going to allow them in. You know what? Yeah, I get it. China's a problem, okay? But could you not bury the hatchet for one day? And if the Chinese want to come and show their respect for the Queen, why not? Why not? But no, it's become politicized. So I think people don't know the meaning of the word respect anymore. The Queen deserves respect from everybody. From everybody. She was a role model in her public life. And say what you will about the royalty and about the monarchy, but nevertheless, let's focus not on that. Let's focus on the lady. It is a sad day. It's the end of an era. God save the Queen. Okay, so new things. Yes, we got a new toy. We both got one. We decided to get rid of our old iPhones, iPhone 10s, so that tells you how old they are, and we bought iPhone 11s. 11s. What am I saying? We did not. We skipped the line on that. We went right to the iPhone 14 Pro. And I am absolutely loving my new toy. It is great. I especially love the cameras on it and the quality of the sound and the quality of the video. And you know, I use my iPhone quite a bit for those things. So this is definitely a vast improvement. So I have an unboxing to show you. Yes, they arrived on Friday, and Walter and I did a short little video showing the unboxing. Guess what we got today delivered? Walter and I both got our new iPhone 14 Pros. We're doing an unboxing. Okay, Walter, unbox.
Ooh. Ooh.
I have to figure out how to get into the box.
Yeah, there's tabs at the bottom. They don't put cellophane on them anymore.
Tabs for easy input. Ooh. And Walter got the purple one. Doesn't look purple. Oh yeah, there it is. You can see the purple color to it. And all the cameras on the back. Ooh.
I'm not taking the front off yet because I want to put the cover, what do you call it?
The glass
protector on it. I want to do it before I get dust on it.
Oh, okay. That's probably a good idea. I got to get mine from downstairs. Yeah. But anyways, ooh.
Okay, now it's time for Steve to open his. Ooh.
Tabs. I got the silver one.
Wow.
Ooh, shiny, shiny. Okay, you'll see the rest of it after we get our covers put on them. So, yep, I'm loving it. Apple makes things so easy to set up. All computer-style companies, tech companies should do this as well. It is basically flawless. To transfer my data from my old phone to the new phone was as easy as, well, putting together IKEA seems like trying to solve world hunger, okay, in comparison to setting up an iPhone 14. It went along very smoothly. The whole process from the moment we bought it to, you know, now that it's in my pocket and ready to go, was just so seamless, so easy. And let's face it, yeah, it's a lot of money. We buy ours outright. By the time we were done with tax, no shipping, it's free shipping from Apple. And Apple keeps you up to date as to where everything that you've ordered is and when you're going to get it. And they're bang on with all of that. But yeah, with the phone, a glass shield for the face of it, a cover. I bought a MagSafe charger, which is the little magnetic charger that goes in the back. It comes with a cord for plugging it in, but we want the other. And we bought Apple Care. Apple Care, you know, is expensive, but worth the money. If you drop that sucker, they replace it. No questions asked. And that's about $249 for 2 years. So what, $125 for a year? Yeah, for peace of mind, I don't think that's a bad thing. So you take all of that, add it all up, add the tax. Let's not forget to add the tax here in Canada, which is 13%. It was about $2,200 that I spent on the phone. And you're going to go, holy crap. Why didn't I buy it on time? I could have directly through Apple. I could have had about a year of monthly payments with no interest on those. So that would have been an easy way, but I don't buy things on time. I just don't like, having that kind of situation. Never have. Well, why didn't I buy it through one of my cell phone providers? And I could have, yes. But then I have to sign a contract for 2 or 3 years. And no, I'm not getting into that kind of thing because a lot happens in 2 or 3 years. So, no, in the long run, and are you saving any money by doing it that way in those other methods? No, you're not. No, you're not. You're paying at least the same amount. You may even be paying a little bit more. So, bite the bullet, drop the cash, get the phone. And we have pay as you go plans, meaning we pay a certain monthly charge, gives us certain things, but it's not a big fee. I think I pay about $40 a month for what I have. And I've got that gives me a lot of data on my phone. So yeah, that's how I do it. So we own the phones. And the other thing about owning your own phone, if we want to switch providers, we probably won't because in Canada we have very little choice in terms of providers, different ones. But if I did, I'd have no problem with it because my phone is what they call unlocked because I own it, kind of thing. I'm not tied in to, as I said, to another company's plan. Okay, so yeah, I'm loving it. It's great. It's a little bigger than the 10, slightly bigger. Not a problem. It still fits in my pocket. We debated on whether to get the 14 Pro Max, but it's a lot bigger and not really. It wouldn't really fit in our pockets. Hi, is that a cell phone in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me, kind of a thing? Uh, you know, it would be all right if you carried around a bag or something, like if you had a purse or a messenger bag that you carry with you all the time, or a briefcase or something like that. But we don't. Um, so we got the smaller one, and even as saying that, it's still slightly bigger screen wise to the 10, and it's a nice screen too, very clear, very vibrant in the colors and everything else about it. So yeah, that was our biggie. Um, and yeah, I don't regret spending the money on it at all. Okay, so that takes me to some other technology, and that's time for the 3D corner. And what have I been doing on the 3D corner? Well, I've been looking at making some Halloween things. I've only made one Halloween thing at the moment, and that's the Raven. And I'll explain what the green thing is beside it in a moment. But yeah, this Raven, it turned out pretty good. I might make another one because, one's good, two's better. I already have a lot of Halloween decorations, and you heard me say last week that I didn't used to decorate for Halloween. Well, now I do because I've got quilts and I have, little embroidered 3D dimensional haunted houses and stuff like that. So I really do get into this. So I will start putting my stuff out at the end of this month, and they'll be up for the whole month of October. And then it'll be time to switch things over to, you know, briefly to something that's fall like, and then move right into Christmas. So yeah, I've become one of those people who decorate for the seasons. But as you can see here, I made this raven. He turned out pretty good, except for one little thing. I broke off his feet. Now you can't see it in the picture, and that's good. Means I did a good job. I had to glue his little feet back on. And of course, eh, getting the right glue to adhere to PLA, which is the plastic, is not easy. I used my glue gun, and it took several tries, but I finally got that to take with this. Of course, I had glue oozing out around his ankles or whatever. And I took some of that off. But what I really, because the glue was clear, I took a black magic marker, a Sharpie, and just sort of colored it in. And because it's underneath the bird and that, you really, unless you study it closely, you won't see that I did that. And let's face it, it's just a Halloween, cheapo Halloween decor item. So, I'm not that worried about it. But that brings me to the little green stick that's sitting there. So I was looking for what kind of glues people use to hold PLA pieces together, because some people make really huge, you know, creations, and they're all done in pieces because, 3D printers are not that big. So you have to put your parts together. And I try to avoid that if I can. Um, but I have been thinking about giving something like that a try to see if I can make something a lot bigger, but it would be multiple pieces. So I need to stick them together. The glue gun, I don't know if the glue gun's going to hack it or not. So I'm looking for what glues people use. Well, there are glues, and they're expensive. Now, some say to use Gorilla Glue super glue. I tried that, didn't seem to work at all. Just seemed to run right off the plastic. But then, when I was in my search, a guy developed a file that you could 3D print, uh, for lack of better terms, a glue stick. And that's what the green thing is. Fits in your glue gun, and away you go. So basically, what you're doing is you're melting down some of the plastic that you've already used to make your creation, and you're just sticking it, where you need to stick it. And it'll hold the parts together because it's the same stuff. I thought that was ingenious. I thought that was ingenious. Okay. If you notice, there's a little bit of, well, it's basically glue, regular glue, the type of thing that comes from the glue gun, on the end of my little green stick. Now, of course, I just did it in that color because that was the color that was in my printer at the time, and this was an experiment to see how well this would print, and it printed fine. Now, if I was to actually use these, I would either print some of the sticks in various colors of my PLA, or I also could print it in what's called transparent, which is sort of a clear filament, and then just color in the parts that might show, like a seam in that, with a Sharpie, a colored Sharpie, or whatever. Um, so I'm still experimenting with this at the moment, uh, but it didn't work in the glue gun I put it in. The stick was not gripping. It's just a little bit, just a hair too small. So my next thing I'm going to do with this is, I haven't given up on this yet. I'm going to adjust the file to make it just a hair thicker and try that. I don't want to do it though through my good glue gun. Now, you need a high temperature glue gun, and it is, but just in case this thing gums up my glue gun, I don't want to wreck it. So I do have some other glue guns laying around that I may give it a try in, or I may go out and buy a cheapo glue gun that's a high temperature one and see if that works with this. Can you ever have too many glue guns? I don't know. I've got a lot. So yeah, so I think this is kind of an interesting experiment, and I'll let you know how that turns out. And that was it for what I've been printing on the 3D printers. In fact, my 3D printers have been having a bit of a holiday. I have not been printing as much as I usually do, mainly because, and I've said this before, I'm running out of things to print. I'm getting tired of printing out the little gnomes and trinkets and things like that. So I'm looking for other things. And like I said, I think I may have to branch out now and try some bigger items, ones that have multiple parts, as soon as I figure out how to stick them together. Okay, so that takes me to Blast from the Past in terms of trips. And this, again, is another in the series I've been showing, well, for quite a while now, for not quite a year. The bits and pieces from our trip to Australia in 2018. That was our second trip, I believe. Yes, our second trip. And we are off this week to something called the Pinnacles. This was February 25th, 2018, and this is part one of that video. Okay, today we're off on a bus trip to something called the Pinnacles. Pinnacles, which are what?
Form rock formations that are unusual in the desert.
Okay, and it's like 215-minute bus ride to get there. And then we're doing some other stuff, right?
Yeah, it's let me see. We're seeing koalas again, I think. It was part of this
More
tour.
koalas.
More tour.
Yay.
Yeah, I know. After a while, they all look the same.
Yeah.
So anyway, Pinnacles, desert koalas, sandboarding, four-wheel drive, day tour from Perth.
4-wheel drive.
Yeah, it's on a bus, 4-wheel drive bus.
Oh.
It goes through the sand.
Oh. Yay! Excitement. Actually, I might be a little bit more excitement about this if we didn't have to get up at 5:30 this morning to now wait for this bus to pick us up for this thing. And after we were already like boozing her up in Fremantle yesterday. But anyways, I'm sure it will be interesting and exciting, with the exception of the koalas. I don't need to see another koala. I've seen enough koalas for a lifetime. Now, if there's kangaroos, they're more fun. They're so cute.
Other breed called, and it's a white kangaroo. So yeah, quite an unusual looking kangaroo. Now they also have wallabies. Now wallabies, to differentiate between a wallaby and a wallaby has more like a dog face on it. It's got a long nose and smaller ears, and a wallaby is much smaller in stature, where a kangaroo stands taller. The wombat, Mr. Wombat, he's a real, he looks like an oversized, muscly looking. But whatever you do, keep your hand away from his mouth. He's got this really big teeth, and he will snap at you if you give him the opportunity. But the staff at Caversham hold on to him, and you're allowed to pat his tummy, but they won't let you put your hand anywhere near his mouth. And you can get a photo. I showed a photo sitting next to him. So that's Mr. Wombat. Really hard case looking animal. Get rid of the ear. Just excuse me if I stop talking every now and then. I'm concentrating. Okay, we'll have about 40 minutes at the Caversham Wildlife Park, and there'll be a guide that comes out and meets us, meets you, and it'll take you and give you a personal tour through the wildlife park. So that's our first stop, and that's in about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Then we've got quite a long drive. We're going to about a 2-hour drive, where we're going to drive up to a place called Chatty Roadhouse, and at Chatty Roadhouse we'll have a comfort stop, and there's an opportunity there to get a coffee if you want to, or something light to eat. Just remember that you're having lunch at about 12 o'clock or just after. We'll arrive at Chatty Roadhouse at about 11:30. So just be mindful of that. And we're then going to be driving down towards the place called Cervantes, which is a drive down to the Indian Ocean. We're heading west towards the Indian Ocean. And we go to Cervantes for lunch. Cervantes is a very busy commercial crayfish business, and it's very busy. They have busloads of people arriving there in the weekends. And those people that have booked you with your tour today, you have fish and chips, as I mentioned, beer battered fish and chips with a salad and a cold drink. The fish is actually snapper, as I said, which is very nice. And everybody else has got vouchers. We'll have lobster lunch, and those that want to upgrade, just talk to me, as I said, when we get you can upgrade. Now, Cervantes, a lobster factory, they can have fresh lobster, a live fresh lobster on the menu in Washington or Los Angeles or New York City or anywhere else in the world for that matter, in 48 hours. What they do is they keep this lobster alive. They put them into a transient, if you like. They put them on ice. The lobster is still alive, and then they fly them directly to whatever destination around the world, and then they bring them to life again by putting them into a saltwater tank. And those lobster actually come alive again. That's how they're able to offer fresh live lobster on the menu around the world. So this is a very, very busy and industrial commercial operation. They have a very similar operation up in a place called Geraldton, north of Perth. So this is a very large commercial operation, and they turn over an incredible amount of lobster. So yeah, it's right on the Indian Ocean, on the beach. So we'll be there for an hour, If you finish your lunch a little early, you have time to go down to the beach and tickle your toes in the Indian Ocean if you want to. So we'll give you throughout the day. I'll give you different times to be on the coach. So I really appreciate you helping me there because it helps me manage the day. It's a very long day, and we cover a lot of things. The worst part of it is driving from Caversham, that 2-hour drive up the coast. And those of you who want to have a sleep, that's a good time to have a bit of a sleep in that 2-hour period if you want. I'll give you lots of information throughout the day. I promise you I won't be talking all day. A lot of people say, oh my God, he's going to be talking all day. No, I'll just give you little bits of information, a little bit of history about the Aborigines, the Perth, the establishment of Perth as a city in Western Australia.
Okay, everybody, good morning.
Good morning.
Wonderful. Welcome to Caversham Wildlife Park. Has anyone been out here before?
No.
First timers?
Yeah.
Very nice. I'll introduce you to your tour guide in just a moment. She'll sneak up behind me. Okay, her name is Christine. Your first stop this morning is feeding the kangaroos some breakfast.
Oh,
They are eagerly awaiting for you. All right. You'll also be getting a photo with the wombat on the tour today. Does everyone know what a wombat is?
Yes.
Some of you? Yeah? You'll know in about 15 minutes anyway. And of course, having a photo with the koala. I know there will be a few other bits and pieces along the way. No, you don't get to hold them, but you can touch them, stand next to them for a photo, okay? Here she is, okay? So follow Christine, guys. Like I said, your first stop's the kangaroos.
everyone. Who would like to feed us?
I'm a death or something. Says, let me see if they get it. How come they're getting it? I'm not getting any.
That one can hold your hand. That's not the feet. That one is
It's little guys.
Yeah.
So I am very fortunate.
You want pictures yourself too?
Oops. Just ate all mine.
Still got
Here.
stuff in my hand. That's the other thing.
I think they find it.
stand up here. Yeah, you can stand up. Freedom there. That looks like a white one.
The back legs, it's not anywhere near the head or near the face. They've actually got very long whiskers, so very sensitive. Okay, but if you do want to touch, we'll give our hands just a quick wash. The hand sanitizer. There is another one just over there on the post as well. The size is fine. So come around this way, everyone. The wombat you're meeting, his name is Neil. Yeah, Neil is a southern canary-nosed wombat.
Yes. So we're stopped on the side of the road at a 25-hour diner. You don't believe me? We're going to prove it to you right now. That this is actually a 25-hour diner. You can see there's not much here either. This is a rest stop. On our way to lunch at some place where we're supposedly having lobster. We'll see. I don't anticipate it's going to be what we think it is.
Most of our activities are in the afternoons.
Yeah. So here we go. See? I lie not. 25-hour diner. They know something here that we don't. I know we've been through several time zones in Australia, but I didn't know that they were also extending the day by 1 hour. So what happened in the past week? Well, we finally got our interview and store tour in with Quilter Quilting. We did that on Saturday. We used the new phones for that. And you will be able to see the entire interview and store tour this coming Friday, which would be September today's the 19th, 21st, September the 23rd on So Chatty. It will be our episode of So Chatty this coming week. And I think the interview went well. Zach, his mother, Philippa, and his father, Eric, his mom and dad own the place. I didn't realize when I was planning the interview that Philippa was his mother. I thought she was his sister. But we had that established early in the interview. Lovely, lovely people. Really care about the business, and they really care about their customers. So I think you're really going to enjoy that video. So be sure to tune into it next week. I don't have a link for it yet that I can put in the show notes because I can't, because it hasn't gone up yet. So keeping you in shivering with anticipation, as has been said. And I started more quilting classes. In fact, that is why I'm up early this morning, because I want to get this done and out of the way before I go to my in-person class. Haven't been to an in-person class in a long, long time. This is at Ultimate Sewing. It's not a big class because Ultimate Sewing is trying to keep their classes small to no more than 6 people. And they have about 42 classes. Some are online. Many of them are in person. And you've heard me say before that their classroom is not really huge. So yeah, I think it's a good thing they're keeping the numbers down. So this is for the One Block Wonder, which I talked about last week. And it's with Donna, the hostess with the mostess. So I'm off to there for 10 o'clock this morning. And I'm looking forward to this. And it's an all-day class. And so each 3 Mondays in a row, we have this class from about 10 till about 4. So I hope all goes well. And one thing that's nice about the class being on a Monday in the store is that the store is actually closed to the public on Mondays. And that's why Donna is doing this, because we need a lot of space, because I hear there's a lot of cutting of these panels to do. So I'm taking that. I'm still doing, as you know, the Lakeside Block of the Month one that I showed you earlier. And I'm starting a new Block of the Month. We had our first class, and it's a Zoom class as well. We had our first class on Thursday, and that'll be once a month. And it's the quilt I showed you a week ago called Color Splash, which is a lot of applique. Although after this first class, for the first part of this, I don't think the applique is going to be a big problem for me. We shall see. We shall see. Fingers crossed. And all of that. So yeah, busy with classes. And of course, I have other projects to work on as well. Never dull moment. Okay, so what's coming up? Well, update on the retreat. You should, if you are on my mailing list for the retreat, you should be getting an email towards the tail end of the week giving you all the details about how to register for the retreat. The retreat is on October the 22nd. It's a Saturday. It's all day. Starts at 8 a.m., runs till about 5 or so in the afternoon. I have guest speakers. So I will be sending out that information later this week, and I will be posting it. I'm going to do a special video that I will post on my YouTube channel as well, talking about what's in there. And in the show notes thereafter, I will have a link to all documents, all updates up until the 22nd, the day of, for the retreat. And I'm going to put those up on Google Drive, and I will have a link to it, and you'll just be able to click on that and download or read right online all the information if you are not up on my mailing list. If you're on the mailing list, you can ignore those links because you will get everything as I produce it. Somebody asked me if there will be an agenda for the day. Yes, there will be. And for those that are registered, they will receive the agenda. I will not be linking the agenda to any of my show notes. Okay, that will be something that'll be for the people who have registered. And if by chance you register and then life happens and you can't attend, there's a procedure I have in place for that too, so that if by chance I have to start a waiting list, I can accommodate other people, so that, you know, if you can't come and I know about it, then that opens up a spot. I can take someone from my waiting list and put them on that. All of that will be explained in the email that I'm sending out later this week. So if you're not on the mailing list, which is the best way to you know, keep up to date on everything retreat wise, then please just send me your name, first and last, please, and your email contact address, which I will have if you send me that, if that's the one you use. Okay. Some people use a different email address for things like this, and that's fine. Just tell me so I will have the proper contact information. Why I'm asking for your first name and last name, your real one, please. Okay? Because if you use a pseudonym, it gets confusing when I'm registering and other paperwork that I need to do before and during the retreat. It just makes my life a lot easier and avoids confusion. Okay. Now I have gotten information back from 2 out of 3 of my presenters as to exactly what they're going to be presenting, and it's exciting. It is really exciting, and I will have more about that after I hear from the last person, which I'm expecting I will hear from that person this week. I better. If I don't, I'll be inundating them with nasty emails. That's not true. Yes, it is. Yes, it's true. So yeah, I'm excited about it. So stay tuned. Okay. And yes, it is absolutely free. Nothing. It'll cost you nothing. Costs me something, but that's okay. Okay. All right. So I think that's about it for me for today. So I hope you have a really good day. Idiot Quilter will go up tomorrow. There's also a new interview that will be going up tomorrow as well. And tail end of the week, there'll be the other interview with Quilter Quilting. You're going to get double whammy this week for that. And of course, Stephen and Walter live on Sunday afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern. So lots for you to keep you entertained. I guess if you find it entertaining, I don't know. So have a good one. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye for now.